Welcome back to my channel, In-Flight Music. If you're new here, my name is Ian, and today I'm going to show you how to use parallel processing to improve your mixes. In my past parallel processing tutorials, I showed you how to route tracks so that you could actually get the parallel processing working in FL Studio. But here I have a couple plugins from Baby Audio, and they've dived into the parallel processing world with two plugins. Here I have iHeart New York, which is a New York style parallel compressor, and to the left I have Parallel Aggressor, which is a more extreme version of iHeart New York. So first let's take a listen to what these buses sound like without any of the parallel processing turned on. This is a quick little loop that I made last Wednesday on my live channel. I'll leave a link in the description below in case you haven't subscribed to the live channel yet. And this is what this sounds like. And now with Parallel Aggressor and iHeart New York engaged, the main thing that you should be picking up are the little details that are now highlighted because of the parallel processing. But to help you hear that a little bit better, I'm going to go ahead and solo this bass bus. And here we have only Parallel Aggressor. So with it, and without it, you can hear it just gets really dull compared to what it sounds like with it. And we're hitting about -15 with the Parallel Aggressor turned on. And you might be saying, well, if you just turn up the bass up to -15, you would get the same effect. Definitely not. So let me turn this off. And I'm going to bring in Fruity Balance. And we're just going to add this to the track so that we can turn up the bass to level match it. So if we crank this up so that it's hitting at -15, compared to this. So even when you turn it up, it's still dull compared to what we're doing in Parallel Aggressor. And I'll get into exactly what's going on in here after we get through the other two buses. So here's the drum bus. And inside of the drum bus, I have another Fruity Balance and iHeart New York. The reason being, I want to control the level that is going into iHeart New York. So with this Fruity Balance, when I add all my drums together, my drum bus gets pretty loud. So I'm actually ducking down the volume by -10 dB. In the manual, it actually says iHeart New York is actually based off of the -18 threshold. So that's actually what they recommend bringing in your sounds into iHeart New York with. But at the end of the day, I always just use my ears. Specifically pay attention to the hi-hats and how bright they are and how open they get when I turn iHeart New York on. I'm going to start with this off. Now let's turn it on. You can hear how that high end just opens up and brightens up. And that's because of the parallel processing that we're bringing up with just this slider right here. And I've slightly turned down the output so that we are level matched with the same volume. There's only 4 controls in iHeart New York. You have the 2 knobs, the slider, and the solo button. If you activate the solo button, you actually treat iHeart New York as just a compressor. But outside of that, it acts as a parallel processor. So the spank is actually the dynamics. You could increase the transient attacks of your drum hits here, or you can decrease them. The output is obviously output. This middle slider is really where the magic happens. This actually is the parallel processing. So if you turn this all the way down, you get no parallel processing. If you turn it up, you actually get the compression. And now we have our instrument bus. You should hear the biggest difference with this. And again, pay attention to the higher frequencies and how they open up. So without it, just like with iHeart New York, you have the spank knob, which is controlling the transients or the attack. I have this turned up to 75. You have the volume control over the spank right here. You have volume control over your dry signal and volume control over this heat knob, which iHeart New York doesn't have. So this heat knob is actually saturation. And if you're ever needing to fine tune any of this, you could actually solo any of these. And basically all you're doing is just balancing the 3 parallel signals together to get the final signal that you're looking for. You can add extra punch with this button. You'll hear more of an attack on spank. Extra smack. This is dealing with more of the body of the sound, but be careful with this one because things can sound a little overcompressed, but that might be what you're going for with your parallel processing. You have this high pass sidechain filter, which is pretty useful. I actually use this with the bass version of parallel compressor here. You see that this is engaged, and that way I kept my sub frequencies totally intact. This button right here will mono the signal, so it'll take it from stereo to just mono right down the middle. You have an auto gain button, which is awesome, but I did find that this auto gain isn't very accurate. It works to a certain extent, but I'm still having to balance the output myself with the auto gain turned on. You can switch your metering from peak to RMS, and then this section is controlling the heat, so you have extra hot, which will make it distort a little bit more. Then you have tone, which keeps the harmonics more musical, so they will be more in line with the original notes that you're playing. And then without it, you're just getting more random harmonics. And then you have a high pass filter and a low pass filter to kind of zero in what frequencies you're trying to add distortion to. So overall, I would say this plugin is capable of extreme effects, but the way that I use it is very subtle. And that's the way that a lot of people use parallel processing. They'll dial in really extreme effects with heavy distortion, heavy compression, heavy EQ, and then from there they'll mix that in and balance that with their original signal. Right now, Parallel Aggressor and all of Baby Audio's plugins are on sale. I'll leave my affiliate link in the description below for you guys to purchase any of these plugins. I'll also leave links to my Super VHS video and my Comeback Kid video, which are the 2 other plugins that are made by Baby Audio. Till then, comment down below if you have any questions, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.